Welcome to Lit Snips. Lit Snips 76 on Our Salon Radio and on Alternative Public Radio International. This is Jonathan Wolfman. This week we wrap 3 wonderful weeks with upstate New York poet Marina Matte. There's a number of great pieces to get in today, so I'm going to start straight away. This is called Pines, Autumn 1989. I find a trail under the pines. Sunlight creates a pointillist path. Evergreens push away from their birth. Hold maple leaves like snowflakes. Where their roots ply the earth, there is a bed to lay my body down, gaze up into restless limbs that gallop in the wind, torch the blue. Where I am now, number 2. Winter bit early, holiday lights play child's madrigal. White beans cook all day in my bowl, lose heat in chilly of room. There is warmth in my body. A few companion looks, comfort, study cat, alert, perfect, full moon, trees, soft pearl, white-haired friend today said going green makes local headlines. New world cracks through. Chandelier beads hang from lamp, light trapped, shining. Cat breathes, I breathe. I am light, trapped, shining. City light, city bright. Only city I see tonight. I wish New York City. November 1989. What is it about these massive towers that waver above me? Mistaken for silent, I am walking down Lexington Avenue from the East 90s with a desire to keep going, to ride the avenue, my eyes and legs abandoned to the rapids. I follow this blessed impulse until I crave a coffee shop, a bubble that grew against the onslaught of traffic. In the upper 60s entrance at the corner, I find one. I push open one door, then another. It is warm, close, and deserted, the perfect complement to the streets. I sit at the counter for a cup of New York coffee, the abandoned lot kind of a donut and the twisted kind, moist and gummy white. The waiter serves it to me as if it were the elixir to childhood itself. He is the best mother I've ever had. I pull out my paperback. I love this. I will never see these people again. The customer at the end of the counter, tuned to the sizzle of grease, gnaws a hamburger, the bun deflated against his fingers. He's here too, anonymous to the meal he craves. I love this donut. Its silence. There is such ease here. Even the two businessmen's conversation is unimportant. All of us are unimportant here. A relief to be unimportant. And yet, the waiter who sings to himself from time to time, at this moment, what makes him different from Julio Iglesias? He writes my check, scratches out the price, says, "What's wrong with me?" Writes a price 10 cents less, a lightness. Here in this low-ceilinged place where the cashier is never cheerful, I leave. 2 quarters under the stained saucer. On the street again I walk and walk, happy to accept the streaming imprint of stores and corners, the fluidity of separateness, and yet a part of the geometric lace of traffic, a rest from work and distance. At 42nd Street I stop. Now I am tired of the chase. with no one to make love to, the windows and the red and green lights glow radioactive in my mind with some cryptic message of life and death about desire catapulted through the night and days of thoughts xeroxed off center. There is no one key to this city's soul. Sometimes I find it in a blues club, tequila in hand. At other times, when I've served my customers their meal and I recede, observing their kind of hunger, and then the knowledge of human beingness. Here you are out there. Ode to the Notebook. A window takes ink to infinity, ruled lines, a guide into that chaos. White Blanche's burn of doubt takes it down to a land redoubtable. Surrender it there. The page mothers you, watches you with blue eyes white clear as you dance your solo. The red line clean, no history, plunges into your body, flows into your lungs, into firm sponge of the heart, soaks in red of fire, squeezes out hotter blue, and so life spawns on the foam of the page, raises black bobbing heads to look beyond, past the horizon of lies. The blank page says, your words will falter and fail to make this journey meaningful enough to qualify their existence. They will not fill this space with enough substance and, in fact, will fall through themselves into a black hole the reader reserves for such an attempt, or the pitch will be so high the words will be lost, thrown into the silence of an outer atmosphere. No dog will even howl. Yet those words that do dare to crawl out, adjust to life above ground, will manifest what they know. That creation is in the release a mammal born, a bud opened. The Poet's House. The poet's house, a strange seclusion. The walls vibrate with colors when she traces their change. They open. She leaves her isolation, takes her strange walk, thinks about flight, still believes in it. Floating over the blank page, breath are her wings. Though the air is impure, she will be lifted and it will change her here. Ink is an alchemical waterfall. It roars in her ears, afraid to stand under it. She is ashamed of her cowardice still. There is joy in the spray of ions. They laugh, bombard her, prod her, saying, there is more, if only you would. The sentence cut off until she fills in the blank. The page is filled. Is peace. Scrambled eggs and hot sauce. A brief look at each other across the restaurant. Two women in the midst of a thought. Is it the same thought? It is the same moment. Child has shrieked again, third try. Parents shush. Faces swerve toward her face. Shush. I am in the middle of a breakfast, not sure how to proceed. The waitress carries herself like a car on tar. People chew their eyes on a distant elsewhere. Food has become repellent. I want to vomit this life, the partially digested, not quite authentic, source unknown, untrustworthy. It doesn't taste right. I want to cry now, awkward over scrambled eggs and hot sauce. The salt and pepper in their grinders seem substantial. Someone asked me if I were living my vision last night. Spare me the abundance. Language is merely practical or otherwise chaotic, divisive, Medusa's snakes, thrashing syntax apart. Impossible to see how and when, blindness inherent. Who has the mirror? Eggs on their plate stare from behind. Hot sauce. I will eat everything on my plate. Something parents urge. Who's starving now? Take down the umbrella. It isn't working. Rain is pelting down to reach the restless seed. Fill it full. Now weed the garden whose fence was trampled to join the asylum further from Earth's crucible, where the tectonic change of new soil waits for all prodigal souls to take root. Road deconstruction number 16. My body has an asphalt aroma. I'm idle in my fuel tank. A shot glass is in the gutter. Outside, a table is set with elbow, fist on cheek, books of cracked pages. I watch this scene on the wall of my skull. My brain a clod of tendrils in search of a plot. There is no place to root in the exposed isolation of the road, a dead ringer for the physics of chaos. The shade of an oak is a collective memory. I glow metallic in the ultraviolet sun. I've hit a possum, and the road, built with no regard for obstacles, continues its tailpipe regret for the shy and blind. Drone of tires rolls out of mother's predator pie. A recipe for chainsaws and parking lots. Expand the rush hour of denial. Shorten the proximity of stand-up comedian to botched executions. Once deflated roadkill reveals its broken bones. Unable to stand, life continues in the crawl of maggots. Teachings. My mother taught me to walk in heels. She didn't teach me to kick. My mother taught me to smile. She didn't teach me to question. My mother taught me to be alone. She didn't teach me solitude. My mother taught me vanity. She didn't like me. My father encouraged my independence. He didn't like rebellion. My father encouraged my talents. He discouraged my direction. My father made me listen. His voice buried mine. My father made me eat. He did not feed me. My brother brought the world home. I wasn't allowed in his room. My brother wrote for the college paper. I wrote for myself. My brother went to Paris. I defended against men on the subway. My brother argued with my father. I watched. My parents held to monogamy. I learned to suffocate need. My parents held to thrift. I learned to turn off want. My sister took care of my mother. My mother took care of my father. My father taught Gabriella to sing. Gabriella taught me, bought me a dress. I took care not to cause trouble. Trouble took me in. Trouble took me in so quietly I thought it listened. Trouble took me in so softly I thought it was love. Trouble took me in with such a thrill I thought I was free. Trouble took me in so deftly there was no choice. Trouble has a gnarled face, unmasked now it unravels. I continue to follow, await the infant to kick. Friends, that concludes our 3 weeks with upstate New York poet. What a great writer, Marina Mattei. As I've told you in past weeks, her publications include the Napalm Health Spa, Big City Lit, and Waymark, among others, and she's contributed to a number of anthologies, including the Wayanda Review, and she's on the board of Calling All Poets series based in New Paltz, New York, and she's the editor of Cap's Poetry 2015, and she's been a featured reader throughout New York City and up through the Hudson Valley. And she produced and hosted a poetry series in the West Village featuring future literary notables such as Sapphire and Hal Sirowitz. Marina Mattei enjoys drumming on her djembe every Sunday in the town's village green, and if you like, you may contact Marina Mattei at marinamati325@gmail.com for information or to arrange a public reading. She and I both believe that we need the arts now more than ever. This is Jonathan Wolfman. I will see you next week on Lit Snips.